So let's start with our usual prayer to Manjushri. Ojezun Jambala Yangla Cha Tsa Lu Ye Lo De Dip Nyi Tindal Nyin Dara Nam Dara Salve Jingye Dun Kun Ji Jin Zi Jiri Nye Ge Tu Kara Le Guam Zen Ganda Si Pe Zun Ra Ma Ri Mun Tum Du Ngai Gi Zir Ro Tso Kun La Bu Chi Tar Tse Yan La Tu Chu Yang Den Son Du Tar Che Do Nye Mo Nyi Le Ki Cha Do Do Ze Chi Ma Ri Mun Sel Du Nga Nyu Gu Jing in chu zi ra li nam de ne da ching sa chui tar sun yun ten lu zo ya se tu be chu tra chu tang chu nyi gen te Dalui Monse Jambe Yang La Du Omara Bazana Di 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 Zeden Ke Kera Vizir Gidali Timo Monpa Rapsal Ne Kadan Tenchu Jolo Topa Ilo De Pobe Nawa Tsaldu So Gansel Tawara Dupa Amchonze Tiwara Dunaya Gombo Jamyam Dingini Gemen Parayam Tonwara Sho Ninja Jimbe Ningmeji Zunamanachi Pakaya Tanga Sundu Chimito Timado Yajana Wisha Sal Yagarbench Belakarin Chipmajune Kudatino Tada Hunusimipanos Uyen Rimboche La Solwa de so good evening everybody once again and welcome to our another session of introduction of Buddhism. So in the last session, we talked about we learned about the life story of the Buddha and how he gave the teachings and all about it. So today we are going to learn about how Buddhism, that we see nowadays in the Boti language, that we have Kanjur, that we have about 100, more than 100 Kanjur, more than 250 Tengur, and we have all these rituals that where does this Buddhism came from that we are practicing nowadays. So today we are going to learn about that, okay? So, as the founder of the Buddhism was the Buddha himself. So, in the chat, I have shared a PDF of the questions, Sunday questions. Do you see the PDF of Sunday questions? So you download it, and so you have to, listen, and you have to find the questions from today's lecture, and you have to write down the answer for yourself later on. Okay. So therefore, have you everybody got the, I think some of you might be wasn't there at the time. So I'm sending the questions once again into the chat. So here goes the question, Sunday questions. Download it from here, and then try to find the answers from today's lecture, and then answer it uh, later on. Okay. So as we have now the Himalayan version of Buddhism. So where did this Himalayan version of Buddhism came from? So you might be thinking about that we have now. So before understanding that the Himalayan or Tibetan Buddhism, we have to go on where how that Buddhist teaching survived in India and came to the Himalayan states. So it is said that as after Buddha passed into parinirvana, we call it, when Buddha passed away at the age of 81, then after, during that time, Buddha didn't, write it down all of the teachings that he gave. That we see the words of the Buddhas that we, read on auspicious day. That we read Kangyur and Zungdu. These are all Buddha's words. Yet these weren't literally written down by the Buddhas. All of the teachings, it is so amazing that all of the teachings of the Buddhas were just memorized by all his students, all disciples. Oh, please keep muted. Okay. And so later on, when Buddha passed into everybody was like, worried how the teachings of the Buddhas are gonna, survive. So what it is said that after the passing of the Buddha, then there happened 3 councils, which is called Chudu Nambasum. What we call is that in this council, what happens was like all the confusions were clarified into these 3 Buddhist councils. Okay. So that happened. The first council was said to be happened just after the parinirvana of the Buddha, and then the second one happened after 110 years after the Buddha's parinirvana, and the third one is said to be happened after 236 years after Buddha's path into Mahaprabhu. After still after the third council, the Buddha's teachings hasn't yet taken the form, a written form. So it is said that it is only in the 1st century, after about 400 years of Buddha's parinirvana, finally Buddha's teachings taken a written form, okay, in the 1st century. And then emerge in the 4th, 5th century, then all these great centers of learning of Buddhism emerged, led by Nalanda University that you will see now. And it is regarded as one of the most ancient, universities in the world. So it is now, you can see only the ruins of Nalanda University now, which exist in India. So Nalanda was founded in 427, which is like 5th century. And then again, the Vikramashila and the Odantapuri, these are the other great universities during that time where people from all over the world used to come to India to learn Buddhism. So that was the peak of the time when Buddhism was flourishing in the whole of India. Okay. So, and then when it in the 6th or by the 7th century, then the Buddhism started to be transferred to the Himalayan states or the Himalayan regions or the Tibet also. So at that time, what happened was that there was a, actually, when we talk about the Himalayas, then there were so many, kingdoms in the Himalayas during that time. So it is said that during the time of King Sonseng Gampo, he was emerged as a great ruler. And then it is said that he was able to bring into influence a lot of small kingdoms. And during that time, it is said that he married with and he married an uh, Indian queen, not Nepali queen called Brikuti Devi, and then also he also married with a Chinese queen, which is called Wencheng. So what happened was that those. So what happened was that as King Sonseng Gampo, married with these two princes, one from Nepal and one from China. During that time, Buddhism was already spread in China, and also it was during the Buddha's time itself, the Buddhism was there in Nepal, and it was still existing. It was still flourishing in Nepal at that time. Parts of Nepal, maybe not the whole of Nepal. So what happens was that then, as these two princes were Buddhists, so as a dowry, they brought two statues of the Buddhas with them. It is said that the queen or the princess of Nepal, whose name was Brikuti Devi, she bought the statue called Jo Mikyo Dorje. And the Chinese princess was said to be, brought the statue, which is called Jo Shakyamuni. So as this was the moment when, where the king took and get interested into the Buddha Dharma, and then as in order to get Buddhism from India at that time, during that time, there was huge learning centers that existed in India, like Nalanda University, Vikramashila University, and Puri University, and so many others as well. But among those universities, Nalanda was regarded as the most prestige, most famous and most. So therefore, the king Sonsang Gampo thought that in order to get the Buddhism from India, we didn't have a script, so we can translate the teachings into the language, Himalayan language. So therefore, he sent one of his ministers to India to learn, Indian language, and then try to create our own, script. So therefore, it is said that Thomi Sambota, his name was Thomi Sambota, was the one who created the script. We can call it Tibetan script or also the Himalayan script, because Himalayan script, it is because that all the kingdoms of that we now are part of, starting from Himachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Bhutan, and Sherpas, Gurungs, and all of these Ladaks and Kunus. These are the all Himalayan people we shared when our language is rooted in this Himalayan. same language, like Tibetan language, or we can say that.
Actually,
Therefore, for this language, that it doesn't have a script. It was just existed in spoken form during that time. So by sending Tumisambota to India, and then Tumisambota after coming, then created the uh, uh, the script that we see now in the form of Tibetan language or the Himalayan language, or sometimes we call it Boti language. Okay, so this came into existence during the time of Sonseng Gampo. It was in 7th century. And then with that, many teachings of the Buddha were translated into the Himalayan language. Okay. And then starting from that, it all started higher to get the Buddhism, the Himalayan, land. And then it is said that actually it was just the starting of the, bringing of Buddhism from India. And then later in the 8th century, during the King Tison Devzen, the first one was Sunzangabo. Now it is the time of, in the 8th century, it was Chugel, the Dharma King Tison Devzen. So during the time of Tison Devzen, so he was also so much devoted to the Dharma, and he was also so much interested in establishing Buddhism. So what he did was that he invited one of the renowned master of Nalanda, who was about Shantarakshita, in order to bring Buddhism into the Himalayan states or Tibet. So then what happened was that he invited the abbot Shantarakshita, and then in order to have a center for translating the text into the Tibetan or Himalayan language, then he had to establish a temple. So that was what when they started to build the Samye monastery. Do you see? The Samye monastery is one of the oldest monastery and historical monastery which is still exists there in Lhasa. Okay. So Tison Devzen started to build that Samye monastery, but it is said that the local malicious spirits were so strong that during the day when people would make the temple, during the night it was destroyed by the non-human spirits. It is said that. So that's why it was so difficult to establish, they found it very difficult to, establish Buddhism into Tibet at that time. So what Shantarakshita prophesied or guidance to the king, that now there exists a very, tantric master with enormous miraculous power. He has the ability to tame these inhuman, malicious spirits. So if we are not able to invite him, then we won't be able to establish Buddhism in Tibet. So as per the guidance or prophecy of Shantarakshita, it is said that the king sent a messenger or sent some people to invite Guru Padma Sambhava. You see, Guru Rinpoche. And Guru Rinpoche was such a realized master, and it is said that Guru Rinpoche practiced in the caves of Nepal, where he achieved supreme siddhis, such as it is said that you might have heard about the Maratika caves. You might have heard about the caves at Farping. So these are the places where Guru Rinpoche did meditation and where Guru Rinpoche achieved great realizations or siddhis. Okay. Then, as per the king, he was invited into Tibet, and then, it is said that Guru Rinpoche tamed the, malicious spirits who was obstructing the establishment of Buddhism in, the Himalaya, were that it is said that Guru Padmasambhava traveled to all parts of the Himalayan region, that there is not even a place which is left unblessed or untraveled by Guru Rinpoche. So therefore, we see there are so many Guru Rinpoche's sacred places everywhere, even in Tibet, even in Nepal, Bhutan, Ladakh, and every Himalayan states you will find it. Then it is said that during the time of Shantarakshita, during that time, they established the first set of sanghas, which were called semi-midun. Actually, so therefore, it was that in the original Sanskrit text, it was said that all the rituals should be, recited in Sanskrit in order to receive the vows. But Shantarakshita wanted to test whether if we translate the text into the Himalayan language, and then if we, receive the vows through the recitation through the Himalayan language, then let's check whether we receive the vows or not. So when he was checking it, he was, there were 7 people who were receiving this first, ordination, novice vows, which is wise vows of a monk. And then it is said that the moment, they received the vows, they were able to give rise to clearance into their mind stream. So they had clearance just after receiving the vows. So that was so astounding that, Shantarakshita said that, and now, even if we recite the, rituals of this Vinaya into Tibetan also, it serves the purpose, and it, serves to that we receives the Vinaya vows. So from there onwards, it is said that there were so many, Tibetan or Himalayan people were taught translation. And then, so many Panditas or great scholars, Indian scholars were, invited into in there to, translate the Buddhism into the language that we see now. So there existed, it is said that there are more than 108 great translator, and more than hundreds of great panditas were invited during this phase of translating Buddhism from Sanskrit to the Himalayan language. Okay. And then what happened is that it is said that as there are so many sets of teaching that we have, we will, later go through it in detail, but there are sutra sets of teaching which come under the category of Sutrayana. There are teachings which comes under the category of Tantrayana, and it is especially said that Tantrayana's teachings are very profound, and it is, if we practice this Tantrayana teaching, it is said that we can achieve the goal of enlightenment very much swiftly as far, as compared to the Sutrayana teachings. So therefore, it is said that Guru Padmasambhava or Guru Rinpoche, miraculously, concealed so many treasured teachings, so many Tantrayana teachings for the future beings. So in this way, and make aspirations that may it come in contact with the great treasure revealers, and thus when the time comes for the perfect, when it is perfect for the people to practice that teachings, then may the treasure revealer reveals it, and then spread the dharma. So in this way, we have, like in our culture, we have great treasure revealers, we have treasure teachings, and many of these rituals that we do at our home. Those are so many of them are related to those treasure teachings also. So it was thus that and then, as like when all the teachings of there are especially two sets of teaching, kinds of teaching, which were translated into Himalayan language. Those are the words kangyur and tengyur. What does it mean by kangyur and tengyur? Is that kangyur is the actual teachings of the Buddha that was translated into our language or Himalayan language. Okay, so that is what we call kangyur, and it exists in about, it has about 104 or 108 volumes. It differs a little bit in as because there are many versions of the kangyur. So according to different version, different volumes. And then it is said that there are also tengyur. What does it mean by tengyur? Tengyur is there were, as after the passing Buddha's Mahaparinirvana, there exists a great, so many people achieve realization, enlightenment, and oh, there exists. Oh, can you please mute it? Who is?
Lopan, now you're muted too. Lopan, unmute.
Oh, okay. So what happened was that all the teachings, there were many compositions made by great panditas of India, like Nagarjuna, Asanga, and so many. There are so many famous, great realized master that appeared in India, including Shantarakshita and so on. So all of this great master had composed so many teachings, in order to make the teachings of the Buddha more accessible for the people. So all of these teachings were meant to make the teachings of the Buddha, more easy for the people who are interested in it. So these are what we call treatises. Okay, so when these were translated also into Tibetan, then it comes in about 250 volumes. So these are what we call tengyur, the treatises that are composed by great masters, not Buddha, are called tenchö or treatises. Okay, and then the teachings of the Buddha, the teachings that was literally given by Buddha, are what we call ka, or the words of the Buddha. So there are two kinds of teachings, sets of volumes that exist in our culture. What are those? Kangyur and Tengyur, the translated words of the Buddha, and translated treatises or compositions of the great masters of India. So all combined, as it has about 100, more than 100 and some, more than little bit more than 100 volumes of Kangyur, and more than about 250 volumes of Tengyur that exist now. And then, so this is how it came. So, and how it survived. And then it is said that during the later the king Tiralpachan, he made many it is said that it is he made the rule that the Buddhism was become the state sponsored religion at that time. And he also bring many rules that if you are translating this, then Sutrayana teaching, then you have to pay homage to this. You have, if it is Abhidharma, then that make us homage to that. And if it is Vinaya, and we have to pay homage to that, and so on. So all these rules were brought in by Tiralpachan. And then later on, it is said that after Tiralpachan, King Tiralpachan, then there come the king Langdharma. And it is said that he was, uh, in his, beginning of his reign, it is said that he established, a few monastery and supported Buddha Dharma. But later on, he stopped. Instead of supporting the Buddha Dharma, he started demolishing monasteries. He started destroying Buddha Dharma and so on. And thus it is said that so many monasteries was destroyed. That was just established of a few generations ago, only 1 or 2 generations ago. And then later he was assassinated by Hlalungpalgi Dorje, a guy named Hlalungpalgi Dorje. And then there comes the later wave of literal translation phase. So in the Himalayan Buddhism, we see different sects or traditions. Do you see? Like Nyingma tradition, Kagyu tradition, Sakya tradition, Geluk tradition. So we have these 4 main sects or traditions. So how does this came into existence? One could ask, isn't it? So it is said that when Shantarakshita was invited, and before Langdharma came into existence, most of the teachings were all the Kangyur and Tengyur that we see now, most of them were already translated into the Himalayan language. Okay, so this lineage of teaching that survived from that lineage is what is called the Ngagyur. Ngagyur is the literal meaning of Ngagyur is early translation. So that was the early translation teaching, the tradition or the lineage. And then after it was the Buddhism were destroyed to a great extent by Langdharma, and then once again when he was assassinated, then once again many people went to India and then learned Buddhism, and then also invited new teachings, such as it is said that the Marpalotsava, the translator Kagyupas, great Marpalotsava, went to India and received teachings from Naropa, and then brought many Tantrayana teachings from India, and then that lineage holder is what we called the Kagyu lineage. So in this way, other other lineages also came into existence. You see, so overall, so this is the rough overall view of how Buddhism that we see now, that we practice now, all reached us, streamed to us when from the Buddha himself. So there is another, interesting story that we have to understand in this way. What we know is that when Buddhist, Guru Padma Sama, during the middle king, the Tison Dezen, during the time of the Tison Dezen, so most of the translations were happened during this time, King Tison Dezen, when he invited the Guru Padma Sambhava and Shantarakshita. And then when the king was able to establish the Buddha Dharma very perfectly, then he was very happy, and then during the time of in Samye, as I said earlier, that in order to, they needed a place to translate all the teachings from Indian language to the Himalayan language, isn't it? So they had made Samye monastery, and then after the completion, when the Samye monastery was made, it was said that during the day it was built by humans, but during the night it was made by this local spirits. You see, so because when Guru Padma Sambhava came to Tibet, he tamed all the spirits that we call like Sabda, Jibda, and all of this, and then he not only tamed them, he uh, entrusted them, or they were assigned as protector of the Dharma. Do you see? So many of these were made protectors of the Dharma. So therefore, we we make offerings to the protector deities as well. So this as he tamed all of these malicious spirits, then those spirits helped them to build the Samya monastery during the night. It is said that it was made during the day by the humans and night by the spirits. And then after its completion, when it was time for the consecration, it is said that when the consecration ceremony was held, what does it mean by consecration though? Actually, consecration is said that after we create the statue, what happened is that the wisdom deity, the real deities, we invite them through ritual and let them sit into this statue. Okay, so this process is what we call rapne. So when the Rapne ritual was being performed by Guru Padma Sambhava and Shantarakshita after the completion of the Samya monastery, it was said that so many people actually literally saw the wisdom beings, wisdom deities, actually literally coming down from the sky and settling into these statues inside this Samya monastery. So that was something amazing that happened. And then many auspicious signs appeared, it is said. And then during that time, it is said that, the king, Tison Dezen, asked Guru Padma Sambhava, so I'm, because Guru Padma, King Tison, Tison Dezen asked Guru Padma Sambhava that what was the cause that I was able to establish Buddha Dharma into this land where where everywhere were darkness, and how I am so fortunate to be able to be a source of happiness for so many of the generations of the Himalayan people, and as a whole of people of this whole world. And when asked that, and Guru Padma Sambhava said, like, during the time of the Sangye Vesung, as it is in one of the previous, not only one of these, this previous session, I told you about in this eon, we will, in this single eon, there will appear 1000 Buddhas. And I said that our Buddha, Shakyamuni, is the fourth Buddha from this, line. And then I also told you that the life, of the Buddha Dharma is going to be 5,000 years. So far, how long has it been since the Buddha Dharma has, been in here in this world? So it has been like, Buddha Dharma has been here since like 2600, about 2600 years. So it is said that in order to, so there is still, about 2400 years for time remaining for the, still it will survive until that year. Okay. So what I'm saying this is that as this is in during this eon, there will appear 1000 Buddhas, and our Buddha Shakyamuni is the fourth. So there was one previous Buddhas whose name was Sangye Marmedze. So during that time, Guru Padma Sambhava said that during that time in Nepal, you might have all, heard about the stupa, great, Bodhanath stupa, right? So it is said that, there was, so this story is all related to the Bodhanath stupa, okay? So it was said that in previous, in a very early time, there was the Avalokiteshvara, who is the, God of compassion, or the Buddha of compassion, regarded as Buddha of compassion. He made, fervent aspiration in front of, Buddha Amitabha, that, may all, beings who are suffering in samsara, may all they be free from samsara, and achieve enlightenment, and, get free from the samsara. And then as per his, aspirations, it was said that so many people got, freedom from samsara and were born into the, pure land of Avalokiteshvara. And then he was so happy. And then when he turned his, head back, then it was into the samsara. Still, there was, it was again, the whole of the sixth realm was filled with, sentient beings. So he got so sad, and, he shed tears. And then, as he shed tears, then, he, took his tears into his, hands, and then, by throwing it into the air, he made two aspirations. May even this, eye drops also serve sentient beings or people. So by that aspiration, it is said that they both were born into the God's realm. And then, these two tears, okay? And then as two sisters. And then it was the small sister, a younger sister, who engaged in stealing in there, who stealed flowers into the God's realm, it says. And then due to the violation of the conducts of the god, it is said that she was, then born as a poultry farmer in, Nepal. She was born in a very poor family, and her family was always like doing poultry, you know, raising chickens and eggs and so on. So there she was born, and then it is said that then when she after she was very poor, quite poor, and then she also had four sons. Okay, so she had four sons, and then she one day thought that I have like spent whole of my life like just like doing poultry, and didn't do something that is more beneficial for my future, that is something that I could be proud of, and that could be beneficial for other people. So one day she thought that, oh, I want to make a stupa. Okay, then as she had this intention, she went to the king to ask for permission to build a stupa. So seeing her intention and altruistic, like helping mind, and good thought, and the king granted him the authority, her the authority to build the stupa. And then it is said that when the stupa was being made, it was so huge, isn't it? So during so many people complained to the complained to the king that even a small like poor this woman is building such a huge stupa. So if we let her build such a huge stupa, then you know as for us, such as powerful and like rich people, then how could we make such a structure uh, which is beyond, larger than more bigger than her? It would be so difficult for us. So therefore you should not let her build such a huge stupa. So then as they complained, then it is said that the king replied that, as I have already granted her the permission, so which is called charung in Tibetan or Himalayan language, we call it charung kashur. Charung kashur is, charung is okay, you can do it. Kashur is, I just spoken or given that permission. So that is how the name of this stupa came into existence. And then by the time she had reached the third level, and before erecting the bowl structure of the stupa, it is said that she passed away. As she was passing away, she told her, four sons to complete the structure or statue and make aspirations, and as this will become such a monument where anyone make aspiration and prayer, their prayers will come true. So as per the prophecy, or as per the guidance of their mother, the four sons which was also accompanied by one servant and an elephant and a donkey. So along with this six these four people, five people, and like five people and two animals continued the structures or and building of this statue. And then on the completion, it is said that when the consecration was being made, it is said that the the Buddha Marmize, it is said that the Buddha Marme, this relics are being installed inside this stupa. Okay, so when the consecration, as I mentioned you the meaning of the consecration, when the consecration ceremony or ritual was being performed, it is said that innumerable. The Buddha, Marmeze, along with his retinues, the bodhisattvas, and enormous, enlightened beings appeared into the sky. And then by the, conclusion of the ritual, consecration ritual, it is said that all of these Buddhas and bodhisattvas that were appearing into the sky dissolve, in a form of light, dissolves into that stupa, Bodhanath stupa that we have now in Kathmandu. Okay. So therefore, then after the completion, it is said that the four, there were four sons, isn't it? So all of these made aspirations. It is said that during that time, there were in the Himalayan, in north of Nepal, where it is Tibet, there was no human population, but they could see that in the future there could be a future. There is going to be a human establishment. So therefore, they made the aspirations that in the future, the biggest son, the eldest son, made the aspiration that in the future, may I be born as a king to, establish, king to, rule out, to establish the Dharma in there. And then the, second eldest son make an aspiration that when he becomes the king, there needs a great Pandita who needs to bring the Dharma. So may I be that Pandita during that time. So the third person make the aspirations that may I become, during that time, may I become, the protector of the Dharma during that time. With the having so many miraculous powers that I become the protector of the Dharma during their reign. And then the fourth and the youngest son made the aspirations that in order for all of these three people to come into come together to establish Buddha Dharma, may I become the messenger for them to make a connection in between them. Okay. So, and then as they had all had make aspirations, then one of the the eldest son's, he was bitten by a insect on his neck, and then as he was so painful, he just did this, and when he bring back his hand, there was that insect who was killed by his hand. And then the eldest son feels so compassionate and make the aspirations that may these insects, when I become the king, may these insects become my born as in my offspring, and then has the opportunity to practice Dharma. So thus they made this aspirations and prayers. But it is said that the elephant which was working with them, he was also expecting the people to make some good aspirations for him, but they didn't make any aspirations for that elephant. So what happened was that he got very angry that they used me to transport all the bricks and all the heavy materials for the construction of the stupa, and yet they didn't make any good aspirations for me. So out of anger, he was like, when they establishes the stupa, establishes Buddhism, then may I become the one who destroyed their effort. So that was wrong aspirations that was made in front of the Bodhanath stupa. So it is said that the Bodhanath stupa was so blessed and miraculous that wherever we make aspirations, it all comes true. So later on, it was during this time, it is that Guru Padma Sambhava said that the eldest son who made the aspiration, may I be able to be, may I born as the king, was you, the king Trisondezan. And then the second son who made the aspiration to become a great Pandita to establish the Buddha Dharma is Shantarakshita. And the third son who made the aspiration to make to be a very powerful mantrayanist who could do so many miraculous activities and able to protect the dharma. So he was the one. He said that is me, Guru Padma Sambhava. And then the uh, elephant who made inauspicious aspirations, that is going to be born into your family lineage after 2 generations of you, and he will destroy Buddha Dharma, he prophesied. So in this way, you know how establishing the Dharma into the Himalayan region, and how it was connected to, the aspirations that was made in front of the stupa. And so therefore it is said that this is due to this importance, that when why do we make aspirations and prayers in front of the shrine every day, is because that those shrines which represents are the enlightened beings. Those are complete free from any faults and filled with love and compassion for everybody. So this is what makes them so special, that whatever we make aspirations in front of them, it comes true due to their power of not having any faults, and the power of their realizations and power of their aspiration, and our faith and our gestures. When all of these conditions comes together, then it is said that whatever we make aspirations and prayers, it comes true. So therefore, we have this tradition that every morning when we wake up, we make offerings in front of the statues, like Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and all those representations of the 3 jewels, and then make prostrations and make supplication prayer, good prayers, and then we start our day. That was all, and as our time is up, so that's all for today. And if you have questions, you can ask. Otherwise, anyone who has got, then one can leave as well. Yes,
Okay, thank you so much, Lupin Rinjin La. We have one of the species person. She's from Ohio. I think she's here. And I would like to say something about importance of Buddha Dharma and benefit of Buddha Dharma. In short, our Dharma practitioner, Kulin, she is from Ohio.
Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm from Ohio. We have tons of snow here. I think you have a lot too. Thank you, Lopan, so much for this special teaching. We're so lucky. Okay, so I'm a student of Buddhism. I grew up in the US, in Pennsylvania, and Lopan teaches me too. So I thought maybe I can help reinforce his teaching today by telling you 4 things, okay? And this connects to your quiz that he gave you. So I think you might get asked about it. So he said, "Oh, could I have access to type something in the chat?" I don't know. I understand why you stopped it, but I can't send to everybody. Okay, Okay, so nobody else write in the chat or you'll get in trouble. I'm allowed to write though. Okay, so there's the conjure, right? And then tender. Okay, so let's just take 1 second to talk about them. That, like Lopan said, conjure is Buddha's own words, and tender is the teacher's explanation of those words. So one way that you could remember it that I was thinking might help you is conjure is spelled with a K. You can remember that K also is the letter in the word king. And so that's like Buddha's own words. Those are like the most important words. The wisdom comes from the highest level guy, and that's conjurer. So Tendra begins with a T, and that's like teacher. So it's someone who explains what Buddha said. So conjurer is like his words, and Tendra is the teacher's notes. Okay, so that's the first one. The second thing that I think I'll share with you is actually I'm gonna copy a picture and paste it in here. Let me see if I can paste it.
If you want, you can
You know who this, you know
share your.
who this is? Yeah. Okay, so this is a picture of Buddha Shakyamuni. He looks very simple, right? And he passed away and people wanted to make sure his teachings were remembered. So what did Lopan say? There were three councils, right? And the first one happened right after Buddha passed away. Lopan said in 483 BCE. Is that right, Lopan? So all the stories got written down. That's 2,500 years ago. So if you think of your grandparents, it's like 100 grandparents ago. So it's a long, 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 long time ago. BCE, just in case this is a little too much information, but it stands for Before Common Era, and that's before calendars started. So it's like counting backwards when you're before the calendar. So BCE, they were counting backwards. So anyway, 483 BCE, when the first council happened, when Buddha Shakyamuni died, is after dinosaurs, but way before cars, way before computers, way before airplanes existed. Again, it's like 100 grandparents ago. And the Boti script. Okay, point number 3. I'm almost done. The Boti script is like the special letters that people use to write Tibetan. So like you use the ABCs for English and you use Nepali script and letters to write in Nepali. And the Tibetan people use the Boti letters to write Buddhist books. So you can go online and write your own name in the Boti language too. It's really beautiful. And then the fourth and last thing that I wanted to share with you, actually is another picture. I wonder if I can screen grab this one. You know who this is. Let me see. Okay. See this picture? Okay, so you probably know this person. This is Guru Rinpoche. So have you heard stories about heroes who do like amazing things and help people? Well, that's who Lopan was explaining is Guru Rinpoche. He brought Buddhism to Tibet from India, and he taught people how to be smart and kind. So Guru Rinpoche means precious teacher. And it comes from the India-Nepal region. So he's famous for having magic powers like wisdom and helping people overcome fear. So he's sort of like a superhero who helps spread the Buddhist teachings. And if you look at this picture, they also call him Padmasambhava, which means born from a lotus flower. So the lotus flower is very important and it grows out of mud. So a beautiful flower comes out of mud, and it's not easy for it. So it's thought to be very precious and special because of that. And he's thought to be born from a lotus flower. So he can kind of like, he's very special and very important to bringing wisdom to Tibet and the Himalayan region. So I thought it would be fun to show you a picture. You can see his face. I don't know if you can see it. He looks kind of calm but strong. And he has very colorful clothes in this picture. Oftentimes you don't see them with so much color, but that represents the rainbow and wisdom. So I thought it would be fun for you to see that. And I guess what I'll say lastly is I want to share my personal thoughts with you. You guys have something very special inside of you, and that's your Nepali culture and these Buddhist teachings. So even though you live here in the United States, those roots are strong and like a beautiful tree that kind of grows wherever you are. So your culture and Buddhism give you wisdom, kindness, and ways to understand the world that other people don't have. So being part of two places like Nepal and the Himalayas and America means you get the best of both worlds. Like you can be proud of where your family comes from, but also all the new things that you're learning here. So that makes you guys special too. So I just wanted to share those points with you. And I hope that helps you with your test. Okay. Thank you so much, Bim. Thank you, Lopanla. Thank you all. It's good to see you guys.
Thank you so much, Colin. I think you're gonna support to us this our regular class. This class is always 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Only Sunday, our class for a week. I hope you're gonna help us. You're gonna support to us sometime. Our English and their English is different.
I'm happy to. Yeah. And if you,
Thank you.
yeah. Thanks, guys. Thank you,
Lopenla,
Bim.
Lopenla now, your turn. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Colleen, for explaining things in simple terms. So it was also a way of making this, whatever I was trying to speak, like more accessible to everybody. So I hope that you guys have understood in more detail. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask, or we are going to, if you don't have any questions, then I'm going to do the conclusion prayer, of which we call dedication prayer, and then we will end the class. And also regarding the dedication prayer, whatever, like, it is said that when we do a good thing, we always accumulate merit. Okay, when you do a good thing, we always accumulate merit, and when we have that merit, it is in our hand to where to use that merit. Okay, so this dedication is that, like, where you want to spend that merit. So when, like, if you invest that merit into a great cause, then you are going to make enormous, profit. If you are going to just, not invest in a very big cause, then it is just going to exhaust along the way. So therefore, what happens is that as we, as when listening to the Dharma and talking about, it is said that even listening to the name of the Buddha accumulates enormous merit. So we just not only heard the name of the Buddhas, but we went through the life stories of these great enlightened beings. We talk about the meanings of the teachings and so on. So there is no question that we have accumulated enormous merit. So when we dedicate the merit, it is the best we can dedicate the merit is so that it makes the best profit is, may every mother, because according to the Buddha's teachings, it is said that every sentient beings has, every, living being that we can see, has been our parents, some, in our previous lives, some of our previous lives, because this is not our only life, isn't it? Before we are born as now as humans, like, in the previous life also, we have been taking one after one after one after one lives. So during this time, so if we were to trace back our mothers, then there is no other living being who haven't been our mothers. So therefore it is said that, how kind, or how, supportive, how helpful, how, how much, your mothers have been towards you. In the same way, every, living being has been so much kind towards us, in one of our, during the time when we were there, kids. So therefore, what we need to do is that we have to think the best for them. How can we think of the best for them? Because may they achieve complete, like, happiness, never ending happiness, because the happiness that we experience in human, like, we as people are also, like, it is said that our happiness is limited. Okay, so if we after we die, we never know where our karma is going to take us to, like, maybe higher realm. If we have done good, we are going to born into the higher realm. If we have done bad, then we are going to born into the lower realms. So we never know. So therefore, the happiness that, humans experience is also, like, very limited kind of happiness. So the never exhausting, unlike, or, happiness is only there once a person achieves enlightenment, like Buddha Shakyamuni. Okay, so therefore, when we dedicate our merit, we have to think that, may every, my motherly, like, living beings, may all those motherly beings who have been kind towards me during, them being my parents, may all of these living beings achieve complete, like, happiness, the state of enlightenment. Okay, so this merit that I have accumulated, may this merit become a seed for them to achieve that, supreme happiness, enlightenment. So therefore, I'm going to dedicate that merit for their cause. And for, so if we dedicate in that way, it is said that until, like, every sentient being, like, including us, achieves enlightenment, our, merit will never exhaust. So therefore, it will keeps on giving us more profit, even if we do not, accumulate further merit due to the, power of this dedication. So therefore, we always do the dedication after every, meritorious or virtuous deed. Okay, so if you have any questions, raise your hands. Otherwise, I'm going to do the dedication. Seems like everyone is just waiting eagerly for the dedication. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Okay. Oh, please read everybody together. Sonam di tamje zikpa nye tone nye be dana che ne ke ga na chi hi ba lon trukpa ye si be tsole do wa ra sho jambala pawe jidara kemba dan kundu sambo de yang de jin Deda gungi jesu dalo chingi wa deda tamje rabdu ngo gewa di kiwu kun sun nama yishe tsozo So nam yeshe le jung we damba kunyi to para sho sangye kusum nyebe chen lab dan chunyi me gyuru dembe chen lab ye dun me che dumbe chen lab ge je dara ngo wa mon lam du para sho.
Okay, thank you so much, Lopenla, and see you next week. And I would like to request all of you to watch video of Aloka after this. I think you guys gonna open the TV and go to watch Aloka about Aloka.
Can I please say something quick?
Okay, thank you. You can.
Okay. Um, First of all, before we leave, again, thank you so much, each and everyone, and especially thank you so much, our Lopenla, for your valuable time and giving us like precious words about the Buddhism. And also thank you so much, Colleen. My name is Durga Gurung. I'm all the way from South Dakota. I would say I was the previous presidents, right? Currently, my Mr. Bhim, he is the president, and also I would like to thank you so much, all my board members and all our the my friends and families and kids and everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. So it's a um, very important classes which we are getting about the Buddhism from our Lopenla. So I would like to request all the kids and all the children, whatever my relations is gonna be. So my niece, my brother, my sisters, and everybody. Please let everybody know. So we'll have the same times and same classes will be held on next week every Sunday. So again, I would like to request all the childrens or like whoever participated today for this Buddhism classes. This is our third time classes. So again, so just over the all over the United States, as well as like if your friends and families want them to join us, so please let them everybody know that, and also just share this flyers which we have contact information and all this we mentioned there. So please again, thank you so much for your valuable time. And thank you so much, each and everyone, for joining us today. Thank you, appreciate it, and have a great night. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Durga sir, all the way from South Dakota. And thank you everybody. Buddha bless you. See you next time.
Thank you.
हे बुद्ध तिम्रो नाम जपी जपी बस्दछु हे बुद्ध तिम्रो नाम जपी जपी बस्दछु तिम्रो उपदेश बुझ्न नसक्दा तिम्रो उपदेश बुझ्न नसक्दा मानिसहरू पापमा डुबे मानिसहरू पापमा डुबे हे बुद्ध तिम्रो नाम जपी जपी बस्दछु